Hello, I'm Celia Delaney and I am the UK's first certified bucket list coach. Crazy. I'm part of a mission that was started by Trav Bell in Australia. And oh God, I don't like this. There we go. Why did I become a certified bucket list coach? Well, Trav has a really strong vision for this, that he wants to create a purposely fulfilled world. And his mission is to help 10 million bucket listers to live purposely fulfilled lives. And he's decided to recruit coaches to do this around the world, of which I am the first in the UK. So he's represented actually in 19 countries now and counting, and works with individuals and also organisations to deliver this vision. Here's some of the global clients that Bucket List Coach have worked with, pretty impressive list. And he is called the Bucket List Guy, if you want to look him up. He's been keynote speaking on this for about 10 years before he decided to take it into a worldwide mission. And I've got a personal goal here in the UK to help 5,000 people to live a purposely fulfilled life. So quite an ambitious goal, starting with, 5 people today. Even that would be a triumph. And thanks to Sarah for hosting this one for the Approved Franchise Association. So in the chat, as I've been practicing the chat, I can't see it now, by the way, when I'm presenting. So that's terrifying, because I will keep checking in with Sarah. And she's going to watch the chat for me. Aren't you, Sarah?
Yes, as long as well.
Brilliant.
Oh, there we go. We've got it.
Cool. So make sure you can see it. And then if you do have any questions as we go along, that's totally fine. I'm not going to have lots of time for questions. I really want to give lots of value on this call. So I'd rather get through the content. But what I do want you to paste in the chat is things that you're going to do to work on your bucket list as we're going through this. So I want to check in with you at the end to see what you're doing. So first of all, very importantly, what is a bucket list? Well, a bucket list is a list of everything that you want to do before you die. So it's a life plan, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But this grid is a good way to think about your life and where it's at the moment. This is a grid of 80 squares. Now, why 80 squares? Well, this represents an average lifespan. In the UK, the lifespan for women is 83. For men, it's 79. So 80 is a reasonable assumption for most people. Now, clearly, we're in a massive wake-up call at the moment. We're in a worldwide pandemic where many people are losing their lives much earlier than this, which is a tragedy that we're all living through in real time. But I want you to look at this and think about how far along you are on this grid. In terms of your age, where are you? I'm 45. I know, I don't look it, but I'm like over halfway. So that is something that really kind of makes me stop and think. And I really want you to take a moment to think, what does that mean for me? I did manage to see the chat there. It's a good job if I don't look at it. I think I get distracted. So this is a bit of a wake-up call, and many people don't really think about what they want to work on in their lives until they get given a use-by date. Many of us, I think probably everyone on this call, will have some personal experience of losing a loved one or having a scare themselves. One of the reasons really the main reason I came into the business was that my stepdad died of cancer last year in October. And I just really felt like I wanted to do something about it to make sure that people were living their fullest life that they possibly could. And what we always like to say in the Bucket List Coach is that life is way too short not to live a bucket list life. No one ever laid on their deathbed and said, I wish I'd spent more time at the office, as they say, but they do look back and say, I wish I'd done X, Y, and Z. So let's get building that list today. I think that's one of the things I'd really like to do with you straight away. So I want you to have a really adventurous mind today. This is all about having a growth mindset. You see, a bucket list is a tangible life plan. I think that your business plan or your career plan should fit inside this life plan, not the other way round. But we often do that, don't we? We end up working so hard that we can lose sight of what we're doing it all for. You know, is it live to work or work to live? And there's a real trend towards being very, very busy all the time. We're kind of hooked on this busyness. We even brag about it. Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so tired. And that's become our lives now, our kind of matrix, our modern matrix that we're plugged into. So I just want you to think about, who are you being in your life right now? And importantly, who are you going to be on the other side of this list? Because I think this is the phrase that's most struck a chord with me in working on the bucket list and having gone through it myself and created my own list. So I've started to realize that working on this is going to fundamentally change me as a person. It's genuine life coaching in disguise, if you like. I like how practical it is, but I wasn't quite prepared for how profound it is, for how much it's already changing me as a person. And I'll chat a little bit as we go through about what I'm doing on my list, and you'll start to see kind of the directions that I'm taking, and hopefully that'll inspire you to come up with things for you to do. So I want to take you through this unique blueprint that Trav has worked on and devised and honed over the 10 years that he's been speaking about leading a bucket list life. It's called My Bucket List Blueprint, and it's an acronym. Who doesn't love an acronym? And it's 12 letters, and each letter is a different category on the bucket list. So I think that's really important, because people often think about travel as being the one thing that's on your list. And they say, how can I travel when I'm in isolation? Apart from looking at pretty pictures, you're probably not going to get very far right now. So my focus today is on all the things that you can do even while we're in lockdown. The problem is, though, that a lot of people are living by default and not by design. So just before I get into the 5 things I've chosen for today, I want you to look at this grid and see where you are on it, if you think you're on it anywhere. So what are you guilty of in this grid, would you say? And I want you to pop it in the chat for me so I can see what kind of things are making you kind of put off doing your list. Just let you do that for a sec. So I can postpone my dreams until something forces me to change. I measure success in numbers rather than in experiences. I don't take time out to work on my life. I put other people first. That's a really common one. I'm too busy being busy, so I never get round to it. I work to live rather than live to work. I feel guilty about asking for what I want. Something that I have to say, in my experience, women suffer from quite a lot. I let assumptions about time and money hold me back. And I think or know that people will disapprove of me if I pursue my dreams. That's a really big one for me, I have to say. That really kind of triggers me, because my family are quite worried all the time about what I'm doing with my career and whether or not I'm making safe choices. You know, I've always been self-employed, I'm an entertainer, and they have quite a lot of fear around how that's going to work out for me and whether that's going to result in me being sufficiently solvent when I'm older. And I spent 25 years now pursuing this dream of being self-employed and being an entertainer. And still at the age of 45, my parents still say to me, you could get a job. So, you know, other people can genuinely hold us back. It's not always our imagination. And I know my parents try really hard, and I know they try to overcome that feeling in themselves. But nonetheless, it's clear to me that they don't think what I'm doing is a safe choice. But a life of adventure is not always a safe choice, is it? So Sarah says, I feel guilty about asking for what I want. Yeah. And again, that is, I do see that cropping up amongst women quite a lot, and do a lot of inspirational speaking around women. So how about this? I do not postpone my dreams until it's too late. I measure success in experience as well as numbers. I take time out to work on my life. I put myself first, or myself first, so I can help others. I'm not busy being busy, I'm busy living. That reminds me of that prison film. I live to work rather than work to live. I feel no guilt about asking for what I want. I assume that time and money will be available to me. I no longer care that people will disapprove if I pursue my dreams. How does that feel? Yeah. Claire says she's too busy being busy. Yeah, exactly. Well, Claire, you do run a number of businesses, so I'm not surprised about that. Claire, if you don't know her, heads up the Approved Franchise Association, also runs a franchise called Extra Help, and is a very inspirational woman herself. So is doing lots of great things with her life, but I'm sure, because I know her well, you could make more room even for living your dreams, I'm sure. So let's have a look at that bucket list blueprint. Now, I've chosen 5 letters that I wanted to focus on today. And I want to talk about what's on my list. But the idea of me talking about it in this way is to inspire you to put something on your list. So this is the interactive bit, guys. As I'm going along, I really want you to think of at least one thing under each category that you might put on your list and pop them in the chat. Thanks, Claire. And pop them in the chat for me, because that's what I'll come back to and make sure that we've got some actions. And by the end of it, I'm going to set you a challenge to share those with the wider world as well, using social media. So do stick with me. I'm going to do a whistle stop tour of these 5 different things with my stories. So the first one is the why in my bucket list, which is your proud achievements. Now, for me, this is a really exciting category, and it's quite a catch-all because it looks at anything and everything that might make you proud. So if something on your bucket list doesn't fit in one of the other categories, it may well fit in this. So I thought this would be a great place to start. Everyone can think of something that they want to do that would make them feel proud, can't they? So this can be things like education, work, building your own house, having a family, or in my case, I want to foster children or adopt. I'm really interested in that. It might mean community challenges that you're doing, maybe working with the homeless. That's something else I like to do, or ex-offenders I'm really interested in. Or something to do with profile. You know, the people on this call, I would say, are running businesses or are self-employed or have been in the past. And you will be always thinking about the business, always thinking about how to build it. So what would be something that would make you really proud within that? Would it be to have £1 million business? Would it be, in the case of franchising, to have X number of franchisees? Would it be to be able to sell your business at the end of it? Maybe you want to do a TED talk. Maybe you want to become a keynote speaker, in which case, see me. I can also do speaker coaching. So I think that for me, one of the things I want to publicly say, and it's really hard to be this kind of courageous about it, is that one of the things that would make me really proud would be to win an award that acknowledged my entertainment career. So on my list, a point behind me, because it's permanently pinned up behind this screen on the wall, is that I would like to win a BAFTA. There, I've said it. I mean, overall, I want to be a national treasure. So, so winning a BAFTA is big for me. So have a think about what's going to be really big for you and post something in the chat by the end of these 5 things, something each that you think you're going to do. Next letter, ultimate challenges. So this is about things that you might undertake that you never thought you could do, either physically or mentally. Now, often people think of climbing Everest or doing an Ironman. Now, I am no runner. Kelly will be laughing out loud at this because she knows I very rarely break into a run. But if something does seem like a challenge to you, that's exactly why you should do it, because you're breaking your personality by doing it. And when you become that person, God knows what else you're going to do after that. So I decided that I was going to do Canicross with my dog, my lovely doggy Sunny, who is snoring right now on the sofa. Not much good at running either. She's not really into the idea, but I'm going with it. So Canicross was one of the things that I put, because I literally don't run. So the idea of running with the dog made that more palatable for me. But also I wanted to tell you about one little thing that I put on my list, which is to get up from cross-legged from the floor. You're welcome to try it. Your videos are off. So you can do that if you want to. And it's a really hard thing to do, actually, to get up from cross-legged, because you're not using your hands, by the way. And I can't do it. And I used to be able to do it when I was doing yoga. And now I've become stiffer in my hips, and it means that I can't get up from the floor. So I wanted to know about the ripple effect that this list causes. And this is how I've started to really change my life. And that is that I have decided to study some yoga, which is specifically about hip opening. Kelly's doing it with me as well, bestie. And in doing that, I realized that I could train as a yoga instructor. So I'm going to become a gravity yoga instructor this summer and start to teach yoga lessons alongside the other things that I do in my bucket list work. But that's made a massive difference to me. I never thought I could be a yoga instructor. I thought that was a million miles away from me. So that tiny thing that I put on the list led to this much, much bigger thing, which could end up really changing my life. And it also means that I can go to Bali legitimately and go on yoga courses. Yes, very good. So how are you going to change your life? You know, I think as a leader, it's really important that you are a role model for this, that you're seen to be doing things that are positive. And if you have franchisees, then they are looking to you at the moment for a growth mindset and for you to be positive and for you to be leading the way in terms of how you're living your life. You know, it's not just a work-life balance anymore, is it? It's a work-life blend. We work and we play equally, and many of us work from home, and let's face it, at the moment all of us work from home. So that kind of blend of those two things is really important for you as a leader to be demonstrating to others, in my opinion. I think that that kind of leadership in a small business really impacts on the bottom line as well, on the P&L. When you're the engine of the business, it really makes a difference. And I think people want to hang around with that energy, you know, enthusiasm sells. And also you're more attractive to the opposite sex, or indeed the same sex, whatever floats your boat. So there's nothing not to like here, you know. And Ultimate Challenges is most likely to get you physically fit. And I think at the moment we really want to get moving, don't we, when we're on lockdown. So next letter is K, kind acts for others. This is what I love about this bucket list, is it's not all selfish. It's not all about you and all the things you want to buy or have or do. It's also very much focused on other people and changing the world. And a really easy way to change the world right now is in little small steps. You know, to do kind acts for others while you're in isolation is not a difficult ask. It doesn't even have to be money, does it? It can be just what you're attending to, because our attention is the ultimate currency now, isn't it? Because of social media, everything's demanding our attention. And so where we put our attention really matters. So what matters to you in the world? What pisses you off? What makes you feel compassion? Is it homelessness? Is it crime? Is it children? Is it old people? Is it medical issues? Is it refugees? What is it that really gets you? And what could you do for those people while you're in isolation? I know that I really want to think more about food banks. You know, I'm really concerned because I'm not really going to the supermarket as much. I'm not aware that the food banks are there as much. So I want to ask my supermarket online whether they have an online food bank, so that I can do that. And also to remind myself when I do go to the store to ask if there's a food bank still, because I've just not connected up the dots while we've been in isolation, whereas that's normally something I'd be more on top of. So anything you can do, it doesn't have to involve money. Even just contacting people at the moment and having a chat is a really great thing to do. E is for express yourself. And I think this is a really great one to do in lockdown, you know, quite an easy one to do. We've got social media, we can phone people up, we can journal, we can write a book, write a letter. It's very easy to express yourself at the moment. And it's very, very cathartic, very good for you to do that. An important thing, I think, while we're all feeling pent up and potentially feeling down or depressed or challenged by the things that are happening to us at the moment. This is the way that I express myself. I'm in a cabaret duo with Tamazine Kimber as Loris and Lee, and absolutely love it. And it's fantastic to perform comedy and write my own songs and get them out there on a stage. And Tam and I have been working together for about 2 years now, and we are writing a show called, wait for it, Kindness is Contagious, Pass It On. Like it? Well, I can tell you, we came up with that way before the virus. We've been working on that since last October as a title. It just happens to be very relevant now. So have a look for Loris and Lee online and follow our hashtag Kindness is Contagious. That will be a kind act to me if you're subscribed to us online. But it's also a really great way for me to express myself. And I can tell you, we are going to do a music video tomorrow where we film it separately and then edit it together. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. You know, having fun is a really big part of this. So I haven't seen many people in the chat posting about what they're going to do. So do make sure that you're doing that. Oh, great. Sarah's gathering for Claire. So have a think about things you're going to do, because the final letter that I wanted to look at today is to take lessons. And that's a really easy one when you're in isolation as well, because the internet is so amazing for that. So what skill do you want to develop? What do you want to learn during this time? How could you come out with greater amount of personal development than you have already? I've shared that I've paid for my yoga course. It was only £60 and I'm getting a huge amount of value from it. I can tell you, I have quite bad back pain and I think it's cured it. And that's in 5 days. So that's £60 very, very well spent. But there's lots of stuff you can do for free. Most of us are doing free workouts. You could learn a language, you can learn an instrument, etc. You saw in the photo before I was playing ukulele, and that is one of the best things I've ever done, is to take lessons in that. I think for me, my main focus is going to be the yoga going forward. I can't concentrate on too many different things at the same time. So I'm not going to promise to learn another instrument. And anyway, I think everybody who lives around me will be quite glad of that. So what are you going to do? This is a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Don't dream your life, live your dreams. So what are you going to do? Okay, let me stop for a moment and look in the chat and round up what people are saying. Great. So Claire, you've got a focus on your business, 40 franchisees by October 2020. Oh, it's been going really well. I know you've got 32 already. And you've been taking on people since lockdown. That's really positive. I think for other franchisors, that's a really vital message. I think they're going to get a lot of benefit from hearing that. Sarah would love to do the Camino walk. Yes, always very popular. Obviously not while in isolation, but you could be planning it and you could be reading blogs about what people are doing as well. And Claire, kind acts for others to give back through her franchise in the long term, and currently to give her franchisees a reduction in fees in response to the current crisis. Yeah, I'm in a group that chats about this online with other franchisors, and I know they've all reacted in different ways, but certainly when people's income is down, do whatever you can to help out other self-employed people, because they'll remember it when we come out the other side. Richard says, gosh, mine feel a bit small. I want to publish a photo on the front page of the Times that goes around the world. Well, let me tell you, Richard Mackenzie is one of the best photographers I've ever met. He'll be blushing now. He is called The Burley Photographer, and I'd love it if you would follow him online, because he's really, really excellent. And he photographs, just to warn you before you go, nipple warning, he does photograph burlesque performers, but he also photographs me and Tam. The photograph that you saw there was from The Burley Photographer. So Richard also says, maybe start my own business that actually works. Yeah, well, see Claire, she's very good at that. And ultimate challenge is cycle to Berlin. Why not? Yes, again, after isolation, but lots of planning can be done for that, and getting to know people who've done it and joining forums where people have done it. Claire, public speaking, she always says that. We've worked together on this, haven't we? She's been on courses with me, taking singing lessons, learning Spanish and using it while traveling. Brilliant. Kelly, create a third career, yeah, which is completely making my work my play, a lifestyle business for the rest of my life, no retirement. Yeah, absolutely. I know Kelly well, and we've been through lots of fun work journeys together, and she's doing some really exciting stuff at the moment, including potentially running retreats, which I might be a part of, and paragliding. Yeah, I'll do that with you. Yeah, that'd be fun. So kind acts for Richard, work amongst refugees and continue documenting the work I did with the Calais jungle migrant camp. Yeah, amazing. Kelly, collaborate with agencies to get at least one person off the street and into home and a job and a life. Yeah, so working with homelessness, me too. I really love that. And Vicky, learning piano again. And Kelly, get more focused on my comedy, write and produce a small play. That is brilliant. That's so brilliant. I'm going to move on because we only have like 5-10 minutes left on the call. In fact, no, 8.5 minutes. So here's the full list. So in Bucket List Coach, we teach you and your team, if you have one, how to create and take action on your personally meaningful bucket list according to our trademarked 12-step My Bucket List blueprint. So there they all are, and I've just picked 5 of them that I think you can work on during isolation. So the question is, when are you going to start living your bucket list life? That's my question for you today. I can still see more coming in on the chat. Thank you so much. That's brilliant. I'm definitely going to save this chat and then I'll know what you're working on in future. So it'd be lovely if you could follow me in these ways. So having registered for the call, I'll keep you on my mailing list for as long as you want to be on there, because about once a month I write a 2-minute read about living a bucket list life with some inspiration from me and from others. Keeps you on track, gets you back on this when you've written these things, and then you need to keep up with it. And also my website is part of the global website, bucketlistcoach.com, Celia-Delaney. And on Instagram, which has been at the bottom of every slide, is bucketlistcoach.com/Celia Delaney. Now, I want to set you a challenge. If you would follow me on Instagram particularly, that would be brilliant, because that's where we do most of the bucket list stuff. And we're going to post today a 5 things challenge. So just a little picture that says, what 5 things could you do while you're in isolation? And a little one that you can potentially fill in. You might need to use a software like Canva, or if you put it in your Instagram story, I think you might be able to overlay the text. We're still trying to work that out, but we'll post you some inspirational stuff. And I would love you to use Instagram if you use it, or another platform if you don't. And write some of these things down. I'm going to save them in the chat, but I want to see you posting these things. So make a note of what you've said here. And I want you to post at least one of those things online and be publicly accountable. That's what the bucket list is all about. It's about saying it to the world. It feels a little bit icky, a little bit embarrassing at first, but oh my goodness, once it's out there, it becomes a reality. And the power of what we do at Bucket List Coach, particularly when I get back out of here and I'm working with teams and groups, is that people in the group can help you get the thing that you've put on your list. I've seen this happen in real time and I've really enjoyed it. Someone has said, I'd love to perform at a vintage festival. I just don't know where to start. And someone across the room has said, oh, my best friend does all the programming for the biggest vintage festival in the UK. I'll get in touch. So the power of group is amazing. So if you've seen anything on this list today on the chat that you think you can help somebody with, then I can always connect you up as well. But I'd love to stay in touch. I know most of you anyway. I know everyone, I think, on this call. So I'll keep in touch, and I'll get this recording out to everyone else for that registered or wider to the AFA. And just remember, everyone, that life is way too short. We know that now more than ever. And I really hope that this has been useful to you and been a way of feeling more positive when you're locked up at home. So thanks so much to Sarah. How's it gone, Sarah, for you?
It's been really good. Thank you so much. I think it's a wonderful, positive talk, which we all needed at this time.
Yeah. No, you're very, very welcome. Thank you, Richard. Thanks, Vicky. And I know Kelly's had to go onto another call, so I'm going to save this chat. And I've been the Bucket List Coach. There's all my brands and the picture of my actual face. And do follow me online, and I'm going to get in touch with you through my email as well. So lots of love to you all. Stay safe, try to stay sane during lockdown, and send me any positive stories that you have. That's brilliant. Thanks so much. I'm going to end the meeting in a mo, and cheerio. Bye for now.
Thanks, Celia. Bye.
Bye, Richard. Bye.